Right, got this Dimplex heater, wall heater for bathrooms. I don't know if you've seen them before. I'm looking after maybe half a dozen of these, and this one has failed. And they all fail, and they're not cheap. They're probably about 4 or 5 years old. I'm not sure they still make this exact model, but it's a very solid model, and they're about £80 each. So it's not a cheap bathroom heater. The client has pulled the pulling doohickey off, you know, the switch thing, but basically it's a 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt programmable bathroom heater for a wall heater for a bathroom, obviously. And yeah, it's very good, very well made, very sound, lovely strong case and everything else, nice quality. But now there's always a but, isn't there? If you've got one of these on your wall, a Dimplex one, or any bathroom heater that's got the air coming in the back, rather than the newer ones have got an open duct on here, a grill which is above the impeller fan which sucks the air in, but these are much more stylish, and it's a little bit faded, this one. You can see it's not quite as yellow as it looks in the video actually, but if you have one of these or a bathroom heater that takes the air in from behind so you can't see the air intakes, then be careful, because it will cost you if you don't do a bit of straightforward maintenance on it. I'll show you what happens. Can you see here on this bit here, can you see there's a bit of a shit stain on it? Can you see that? Just there, there's a dark, I'll hold it in the light, can you see it? It's a dark, oh, focusing thing. Yeah, there's a dark stain where a little bit of heat's coming through, and if you've got one of these, that little bit of heat there appears a bit earlier on from when it actually fails, so you've got a good warning sign. But if you have one on the wall for more than 3 years, take it off and I'll show you what goes wrong. Because if I just turn it over, just turn her over for you, look at that. That's what's gone wrong with this. The air intake's got blocked up with towel fluff and what have you in the bathroom. It's not a laundry or anything, it's just a bathroom. There's a towel rail below it, but it's just fluff from the house has been caught up in it. Block the intake, and then you block the intake, obviously you don't get the cooling for the heating element in here, and then you end up with an overheating situation. And unless they've chosen the correct components to protect it, it blows the heater up. And this one has failed. It's been on the wall for 4.5 years, and it's got that fluffy in 4.5 years. They do use it a lot because I think they dry their washing in there, so it's on quite a bit. But having said that, I've probably burned through 3 or 4 of these in the last 8-9 years, and it's always because of this problem. Now I know, I take them off and clean them when I get time. That is, not on this one obviously, this one's buggered. So what we've got inside, you take some screws off from around the periphery, and then you can do this. What's that? There we go. Take the lid off, and you can see you've got that. There's that shit stain on where it's been scorched on the inside, in the inside of the lid. So that appeared, according to the tenant, that mark appeared there months ago. It's only just got bad enough for it to fail, so it's a warning sign. It's the Dimplex built-in customer warning sign, although it doesn't mention it anywhere in the instructions about keeping this clean. So you can see there's more overheating going on down here. There's the label, it's an IP24 bathroom heater. It's got a pull switch, got 2 settings, or 3 settings, and a thermostat as well. So it's quite a good heater. And look there, we had a major meltdown on that bit. You can see it's got a melted barnacle on it. It's gone all melty, overheated, and it's not any great mystery what's wrong with this. It's obviously blown up. If I just you can see down the corner here, there's these around the outside of the actual heating matrix, there's this these pull clips. So if I just pull that back and see, and then just work my way around getting that to give herself up. Is that one gone? Yep. One round here. Is it good for you? Come on, give it up. Get my thumb under there. It's not very easy. One there, and one round there. Why is it coming out? Here we go. So now the grill drops out, and there's the inside of that horrible blocked up intake. And then just a quickie now, We're almost there. We're almost inside her. Yeah, so you've got a room thermostat. So this is quite a good one in terms of energy saving, because you've got 1 and 2 kilowatt modes, and also you've got a thermostat, so you can cut in and out. It's quite nice. And if we look in here, there's the heating element. And somewhere, this is where we've had a bit of an overheating situation going on. Clearly there's a hot spot. Lack of circulation air coming through is probably a vortex, which doesn't, slows down that bit more. And then this component here, in there, is a non-resettable thermal fuse, which is crimped into the end of the wire there. So if I just uncrimp that, we can pull that out and have a look at it. Actually, let's just put the meter on it and see if she's blown. So that's what we're looking at. You're looking at preventing that bloody thing from going open circuit, because then your heater will be cold, and then it's freezing in the bathroom, and you'll have everybody moaning at you. Yeah, she's gone. So that's gone there. So let's just crack her open and see what it is. Clearly, whatever value they put in there really wasn't any good for what was required. I can just squeeze that open with my pliers. It's just been squished. I think I'm going to have to cut it for this purpose of this video. I'm going to chop her out. We'll deal with this in a moment. Right, so here she is. Yeah, she is. Let's see what you got in there. Oh, it's a bit scorchio. Look, this part's all got too hot. So it's a non-resettable thermal fuse, micro temp R SWCAQR. Do you reckon they normally have got the temperature on them, haven't they? What temperature have we got on this one? It's been something like 180 or so. It's in the airflow, so it shouldn't be that high, but clearly it's taken its time on this occasion before it blows. But that's all that's wrong with this. If I replace this, you can't solder it on because you'll blow the fuse probably, but you can open those crimps up and just crimp it back in and put a new one in, or that's probably the best bet. But this is the last chance saloon before the house burns down. Let me just pause the video and I'll see what an SWCAQR is and see if that's a actual temperature rating or not. I've managed to find out what it says on it. It's not easy because it's broken off, but it's sort of kind of rubbed off and stuck on where it's been out in the breeze. It's been dangling, but it's a 184 degree 10 amp holding fuse, so it should sustain 184. Now 184, they all do this. Down this end it gets hot when this gets blocked, and obviously they haven't designed it. They should have put the heat sensitive thing down this end, shouldn't they, because it clearly gets too hot. And I'm guessing I don't know whether there's air whistling past through that gap, but for whatever reason there's no other blockage apart from this lack of airflow actually, so it's just the intake. But this one anyway is a 184 degrees 10 amp microfuse. It when it gets too hot it just blows open. They're just a thermal protection device. And I've got some 133s here, which admittedly is quite a bit cooler, but it will blow earlier. But I'd rather it, if it gets blocked up, I'd rather it blow earlier than once again just start brewing up like this. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and put the 133. It's quite a lot lower temperature, but you know, this has got way over. So if this does start to get blocked up and blow, I shall run this for maybe 10 hours or something like this to make sure that the 133 is okay, and I might mount it a little bit further up here in the breeze just to compensate. But if you want to make it the same as it was, then get hold of a 184 degree fuse and crimp it back into these crimps here. You can see they're actually, just because you can't solder on these very easy, you can kind of open them up usually, or not in this case. I might have to get some different crimps. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a different crimp, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work out a different way of doing this. I'll come back to you in a moment. But then when I put it back together, I'll blow it out with the airline and just run it and just show it to you. But if you've got one of these, service it. If you can't see the air intake, take it off the wall, clean it out, because it will save you 70 quid or whatever they cost now. Right, okay, so inside here is inside a piece of sleeving tucked down inside there in series with the thermal fuse that's blown. This one is a, what is it? It's a thermal cutout. It's a self-heating thermal cutout, and what that does is there's a bimetallic strip. When it pings open, there's a resistor heating block in there as well. The whole thing is live. Look, the chassis is live, and the extra current going through that's no longer going through the contacts keeps that contact open, so it won't reset until you turn the power off. And this one's a 185 degree one, okay? So clearly that hadn't operated. So this fuse got tired. The one that blew, not this one, but the old one we took out, this one, got tired and blew. Or this didn't function, and it should have cut out, and it didn't, because you think if this was working properly, it wouldn't have blown the other fuse. But we'll never know. It's held in this plastic housing inside a piece of heat shrink sleeving. Sure, I've managed to get the crimp apart. You can see there, look. So I was just going to crimp that back in there if I can, using a little bit of stealth, or not. Just slot it down that gap. It's a bit tight. If I can just get it in there, I might be able to close it up on it again, or I might not. We just don't know, do we? Give it a good squeeze. Did that break? No, it didn't. It just slipped round. As I said, you can't solder this because the heat might go up the wire and destroy the thermal fuse. Now, as you recall, the other end of it was onto this piece of wire. Do you remember that? This is, I think, silicone based wire. Yeah, it's very flexible, soft silicone stuff. And I thought what we could do to crimp that on there is, I don't have any ferrule type crimps. What I do have is some of these things. You can't see it, but I can. Yeah, you can see I've got one of these cheap car crimps, and I was just gonna shorten the end off and just use that ferrule to crimp those two wires in. Focusing thing. Okay. So in theory, if I just poke those two in there and give them a bit of a squeeze, we may or may not be in business, or hold it in the right place. But I've seen maybe 5 or 6 of these heaters destroy themselves in this way, and clearly it's a design fault, because if they'd have put a removable filter, a nylon filter that you could reach around the back and hook the nylon filter out, you'd see it was all blocked up and the airflow wasn't getting in there. Or if they had even just an overheating light or a beeper or something, like clean filter light. But why would they bother when they can get 80 quid? This was an electrical wholesalers for about 80 quid. Okay, so now we're crimped. Okay, so it's in there, nice and tight. And so I'll put it back together in a moment, and then we'll test it out, shall we? So hold on a moment, let's see how we go with this. There you go. So I fitted it in, with Kapton tape, the older temperature resistant Kapton tape around the thermal switch, the resettable thermal switch. And then the thermal fuse is in a piece of PTFE sleeving, crimped onto the wire and routed back in. I've just blown it all out with an airline to make it all nice and clear. So anyway, that's it really. If I'm not going to bother wiring it up because it will work, is if you've got one of these heaters, take it off the wall and clean the filter out the back, because it will last much longer. There's nothing wrong with this, it's just been blocked up. Cost me 75 quid because I had to get a new heater, but now I've got this one in reserve if I need it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you can hit the titty button down there and subscribe or leave a like, I'd appreciate that because I like likes.